Okay, let's take a quick look at the SPX monthly. We've talked about this a few times. March 2020 is how long we've been holding this trend line. We pulled back October, March, and October again. So let's see if we start pulling back in March again. I'm looking at this trend line for a much bigger picture. If we end up in a recession next year, probably middle of next year, this is the trend line I'll be watching to kind of see how far back we pull back. We have a lot of room here, so let's say we pull back in a few months, we could see 55,000, we could see up to 5,200. So somewhere in that range is where I think we might potentially pull back. So let's see if we get a recession into next year. Looking at the weekly, this is going to be just a shorter time frame or smaller time frame, but I'm going to be watching the same thing. I want to kind of see how close we get to this trend line. We've tested it a couple times and bounced. So looking into next year, I'll be watching that area as well. On the daily chart, we've been in this rising channel now for quite a while, since August, and we keep pushing off a little bit higher, a little bit higher. So we've got this initial trend line right here. We need to hold 5,900 on any pullback next, heading into next week to stay in this overall uptrend. So we are pushing into this chop area that took us a few days to get out of. So keep that in mind. We could chop this week if we stay inside this range. But as long as we hold 5,900, we can head on up. If we can clear the chop zone, that upper trend line sits about 60.90 for right now. If we break below 5,900, our next level to be mindful of is that 58.34. If we are looking at the 4-hour chart, we got really close to that trend line right through here. I'm going to be watching to see how we respond at 59.78. That'll be testing that trend line to see if we can push, or will we reject it like we did the last couple times here. If we reject, we've got a couple different older gap fills right here below us that we could fill. And then right below this last gap fill, we have a chop box that we got kind of stuck in for a while. So just areas to be mindful of heading into next week. It is a holiday week, which means potentially low volume. Not a lot of trading probably going on, so downsize or size down, and make sure it's an A++ setup. But these are areas that I'm going to be watching to see if we can potentially push higher, or if we just kind of stall and chop through here and maybe even reverse and fill those gaps.